What is up, Team Greely? This is Angela Glast, Public Affairs Specialist, coming in hot today, February 23rd at the Garrison Coffee and Conversation. I'm sitting here with Garrison Commander Lieutenant Colonel Joey Orr in our amazing new studio.
Oh, yeah.
Sir, how does it feel to finally be sitting in here after like a year of hard work and planning and preparation?
My heart is so full. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you all. I'm so thankful for our higher headquarters funding this initiative and this vision. It really feels good to see the final product after working side by side with you and Jim over the past year and a half, 2 years, seeing this come from a sketch on a piece of paper to what we're doing today. This is magical, not just for the Garrison headquarters, but for the entire community. So happy.
You're so right. You're so right. Lieutenant Colonel Orr and I are going to talk a bit today about specific topics, and especially topics that we know our in-studio audience are interested in. And so we have our coffee, we have our donuts, and so now we're going to have some conversation. Colonel Orr, could you give us a little bit of background on this studio?
For sure.
Like, how did it come about? How did it come to fruition? And how is it helping the command team enhance their communication?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. So I'm a firm believer that communication is the hardest thing we do. When I got here in the summer of 21, I was here a few weeks ahead of Jim Vercio. Angie Glass had already been on the ground running things in the public affairs office. We all knew we had to find creative ways to communicate with Team Greely and the Rugged Professional family. I wouldn't say that the methods we were using were broken. They just weren't as efficient as was desired from the community. And this was one of the ideas. This on top of our social media campaign plan, our town halls, and a myriad of other examples. We knew this would be the way that we can come out early and often and just attack topics that were desired within the team and just over-communicate all the great things that Team Greely was doing. So this required some money. We're in a budget-constrained environment. The entire Department of Defense is struggling to pay the bills right now. This came with a lot of help from our higher headquarters, USAG Alaska and MCOM Pacific, but it came with a lot of love and passion too. And I think our higher headquarters saw that. And when the funding started coming in and the excitement across the entire garrison was felt, I knew this thing was going to come to fruition. I didn't realize it was going to come to fruition this fast, and I'm just really glad it did selfishly before my command tour was over.
For sure. And the Public Affairs Office is just as excited
Oh,
as
absolutely.
you are.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's talk a bit about the hiring fair. So we had a really good turnout last time, and it seems that these events are bearing fruit. I want to ask why MWR is holding these events, and what are we hoping to achieve by asking people to come?
Cool. So if you're unaware, I would say our entire enterprise is in a hiring pandemic. It's really difficult to find people who want to work. And within that small population, trying to find quality people who want to work. And so within the brilliance of Jess and the whole MWR team, we created hiring fair initiatives here locally to help us meet our community face-to-face and educate. Look, I'm clearly aware that it's not easy to get on USA Jobs and navigate through the architecture to apply for a job. I clearly understand that needs some improvement. But when our team meets you face-to-face, let's use City Council building as an example, we can help coach you through that. We can make that stress disappear and dissolve off your shoulders so you can just focus on getting the questions you need answered and being excited to join the Greely team. So we've executed just around 10 in-person hiring fairs in the past year. And yes, we've done a few virtually, but I'm proud of all the ones we've done in person. And yes, ma'am, they have absolutely bared an immense amount of fruit. However, once we grow, we also begin to lose teammates. We are a military team. We lose teammates through natural PCS, permanent change of station, once every summer. Summers are the big cycles, some in the winter. So as we attrit, we have to find new creative ways to grow the team. And so sometimes we'll get up and things will be healthy, and sometimes it'll get unhealthy and we'll start to lose some numbers. And that's when we start to feel the friction here on Greely, when services begin to turn off or get truncated on times of services. And I understand that stress is real and local. But in conclusion to this wonderful question, the hiring fairs are working, ma'am, and they're working because of the initiative and absolute profound leadership within MWR. And if you're listening to this and you're thinking about joining the MWR team, come see us. Come kick down the doors, call a friend. Everybody's connected in this amazing community. You know somebody on Fort Greely. Let us know you're interested. Let us find a way to get you on Team Greely. Ma'am.
So I do have one follow-up question to that, and I know that a lot of people have this question, is why does it take so long once you get hired to come on board? It's so long.
No, it's absolutely a fair question, and I need to be transparent and candid with each and every one of you all. Observing this technique and practice in the past 20 months of being your commander, I have seen that it's not an efficient machine. There are steps and procedures each tentative employee must take in order to reach the goals of getting employed, and some of those are quick. Some of those you can do in a day. Some of those 6 to 8 weeks after you have said out loud, yes, I want to join the team, you're still in a pending status, and that can get frustrated. Inside that frustration, you could walk away. And that's what we've seen a lot of. And so I've used this frustration as a vehicle for dialogue with our leadership at Redstone Arsenal with Lieutenant General Karbler. I've used it with Mr. Diedrich in Hawaii with MCOM Pacific. Find new creative ways. So an example within the problem is we'll use, a lot of us are parents in this room and our audience online. When our kids want to play a sport, they have to get a physical to play that sport. A doctor's note saying Joey is okay to play. Well, in order to get employed, you kind of need something similar through occupational health, saying that Joey is fit for service to cook in the CAC. There's limited employees within the interior of Alaska, both on Fort Wainwright, at Bassett Army Community Hospital, and our local amazing Fort Greely Clinic that can apply or supply that need. We've worked workarounds where we can maybe ask our medical professionals in the Delta Junction community to bolster those assets to help truncate the timeline a little bit. We're finding some roadblocks in that issue as well. So this is me being honest. We clearly acknowledge it's not working as fast as we desire, and you, the prospect, are feeling the pain of that, and that bothers me. So I give you my word that leadership across the enterprise are doing what we can to solve it. I'm very grateful for the medical leadership in the state of Alaska, specifically Colonel Watts, the hospital commander at Fort Wainwright, for all the new creative, innovative ways he's trying to help provide services for our future employees. So yes, ma'am, I acknowledge it's taken much longer than it should. It's all nested with hiring and manpower, which is not only short here on Fort Greely with our intimate team, it's like it across the entire enterprise.
You know, sometimes the questions that we have, we don't have like the best answers, you know, but we're being transparent, and it is what it is, and we're trying to make it better.
I hope so. That's how I feel.
We are. So 24-hour fitness.
Oh, boy.
It looks like this summer we're about to go to 24 hours at the fitness center.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you talk a bit about how that conversation started and how, like the work that's going into making it available to the community?
Yeah, so this is close to my heart. This is me giving back. I use this expression a lot. My job is to leave Fort Greely better than how I found it. I have 2 years to do so. I do believe 24-hour fitness is going to be an example of how myself and the team fought diligently to give back to the community. So inside quality of life should not be an expression you're hearing for the first time, and if so, I apologize. I need to do better. Inside quality of life, we had some visits in my first year of command, and one of those was the second highest ranking officer in the United States Army, General Martin at the time, came to our small, intimate post of 1,300 rugged professionals and checked in on soldiers, checked in on quality of life. And what he got was, hey, the gym's not open long enough to support my shift work on the missile field or whatever it is that I do for this great nation. And I would really like for our gym to try to extend, if not go to, 24 hours. I'm very, very grateful for what the MWR team currently does and the hours that they're able to achieve with their minimal staffing, and I want to make sure that's clear. Very grateful for that. But we always strive for more, right? How can we give more to soldiers' families, veterans, civilians, contractors that make Team Greely so special? Well, what we found was pre-COVID, a few commanders ago, a few command teams, they had this initiative ready. And then with COVID hit, we shelved it. And then across the Pacific within Installation Management Command, there are numerous installations that are already doing 24/7, specifically Korea. So we had a model to follow quickly and rapidly start applying yes to this problem set. Budget constrained environment. You may have heard me say that already. So finding that money like rapidly was very difficult. And then even though we haven't had to wear a mask for a while, COVID has a residual effect still in the shipping and parts making industry. And so
Absolutely.
finding the pieces that are going to make our gym 24/7, we found quite difficult. And it actually deterred the timeline much longer than I had projected. However, everybody's hard work. I'm very excited to say this summer, before I leave on June 27th, the gym will be fully functioning 24/7. If you've been over there recently, you have seen people working for months to make it ready. If you look up when you go in there, you'll see all the architecture is already ready for us to put in the cameras, to put in the fiber, to put in the cables, all the things that make it work. And then once we have all that inside, our leadership will have like a small demo video for you to watch, sign a waiver saying you understand your responsibilities as a teammate here on Fort Greely after hours without supervision. And we look forward to implementing that safely, rigorously, and feeling that the fruit of that relatively quickly. We have a very small soldier population, but that soldier population does immense work for the nation. And if this is what they want, they deserve it. And everyone in this room and online listening deserves 24/7. But I'm very excited for the 300-ish soldiers on Fort Greely that we can finally say, you asked and we delivered. So summer 2023, we look forward to cutting the ribbon and allowing everybody to come in any time of day and enjoy the amazing facility that we have on Fort Greely.
That would be fantastic.
I think so.
Let's talk a bit about BOSS. So our BOSS soldiers are really reaching new heights.
For sure.
They did a great job at INCOM-P, earning second place for the small garrison BOSS programs. Not to mention they killed it bowling against General Carbler like a couple weeks ago. So why is BOSS important, and what do you think is going to happen in the future when it comes to BOSS?
Single soldiers. So as a leader in the Army, still wearing the uniform, like there's something about a single soldier that just brings joy to our lives. They are the ones that make you laugh on the hard days. They're the ones that remind you why you took a solemn oath for me 20 years ago. And so, again, we have a very small military community, the 300-ish here on post. And we have a large preponderance of those uniformed service members are junior enlisted. And so giving them options by, through, and with MWR to thrive outside of the barracks is something I'm super passionate about. I've been grateful in my short tenure as your commander. I've had two amazing command sergeants major, and with their myriad of experience and overall passion for soldiers, I think we've created a fantastic BOSS program on here. But it goes into the leaders of the BOSS program. And right now with Sergeant Freaky and the amazing augmentation force that came up from Mississippi, we just have a new energy in BOSS. The soldiers are excited about Fort Greely. They're excited about going to the CAC to enjoy all the amazing things that MWR provides. They're excited about going snow machining down the road or ice fishing, or even just jumping in our MWR van and going to North Pole for McDonald's. Yeah. It's little things
Taco
like
Bell.
that. Taco Bell, yeah, anything. It's the little things that matter. And if you have happy soldiers, I have a firm belief that you're going to have a happy workplace and you're going to have a very efficient machine. So it is, once again, something I'm very passionate about, but all the credit goes to Sergeant Freaky and the amazing soldiers that comprise the BOSS program.
For sure. AFES.
Oh boy.
AFES is on fire, literally. The fire food truck is going to start frequenting in front of the troop store.
Oh, yeah.
Similar to the sushi test at the commissary, what is the intended outcome of the fire food truck being set up outside of the PX?
So another example of you asked and we listened, I held a workforce town hall a month ago, and inside that town hall we had employees start talking about food. Food is a very passionate topic at Fort Greely, especially in the winter months when we have less options. We all know when the drive-in's open, we're all pretty content. But in the winter, we're looking for some other options besides driving 82 miles to McDonald's in North Pole. And so AFES has done a great job of presenting options for the garrison. You may have heard rumors about 2 or 3 months ago they were thinking about bringing in a small pizza restaurant inside our troop store, and they are still doing a fantastic job of creating options for us. I personally turned off the pizza. I felt we have enough pizza
Thank
options.
you. On behalf of all
Yes,
of Fort
you're
Greely,
welcome.
thank you.
I think within the 15-mile radius, we've got enough pizza options. So I asked them to go back to the drawing board and find some other options, fried chicken, Mexican, whatever. And I'm very grateful for what they're doing, and I'm confident they're going to bring an option soon. In the interim, a month ago, an employee asked, why can't we have food trucks on Fort Greely? We all know there's an amazing food truck right outside our gates. And it was an easy call. We called Dan Owens, our local leader and manager of AFES here in the interior of Alaska, and he enthusiastically said yes and started doing the coordination with the fire food truck in town. And you will start to see that option presented to you, mainly during lunch hours here on Fort Greely on a very routine basis. It's just one more way we are listening, and we are excited to give back. And I thank that employee for the candidness of just something as simple as, sir, I dare you to get a food truck on Fort Greely.
Right.
Challenge accepted. and lucky for us, we had one close. Now the challenge is entertaining the ideas of getting all those food trucks from Fairbanks to come join our community. And so I accept that challenge as well, and I look forward to future coffees and conversations or town halls where I tell you that I was able to convince, inspire some food trucks to make that drive down here to bolster your food options. So thank you, AFES. We really appreciate you. Dan, the entire team, Melanie, you guys are amazing.
Absolutely. One thing that I want to let the audience know is that your opinion matters, and when you do get things like this, make sure that you go. Make sure that you go order food and utilize the things that Fort Greely is offering, because it matters. And if you don't use it, it might not stay, and we want it to stay. So be sure to, when you see those food trucks outside the PX, please utilize them as much as you can.
Thank you for mentioning it. That's a really good point.
Absolutely.
Challenge accepted. Now it's on you. Let's go make the fire food truck feel good about being part of Team Greely and serving you in the community.
For sure.
Thank you.
So you just got back recently from the annual Commanders Conference. What can you share about that experience? And is there any takeaways for Team Greely that you were excited to learn about?
She strategically left out where that conference was, and thank you,
You
to
can
my
tell them
boss
it's okay.
for paying for me to get a vacation in Hawaii. It was an amazing trip. Sergeant Major Dunham and I were very proud to represent you and the 1,300 rugged professionals during a 3-day conference in Hawaii. There was a myriad of topics, but first let me establish the framework of why we were there and who was there. So every commander and command sergeant major across the Pacific made the trek to Hawaii, and we all came together to learn from each other. We all suffered around 2 years of a COVID environment where we were constrained and we weren't allowed to collaborate in person. So these things matter. Even if we went there for 3 days to talk about one topic, just the networking and collaboration with your coworkers and your teammates bears significant fruit. So that was very important up front, was just seeing my teammates asking hard questions of what's working on your installation, trying to bring back some new innovative ideas for Fort Greely to allow us to continue to reach new heights and our optimal potential. But there are 2 things I think I took away, ma'am. One, we are in very, very, very good hands when it comes to our budget. We have a 2-star equivalent senior SES in Hawaii that sees what Fort Greely needs and clearly understands it. And it's unique. I need to remind you all, our needs are unique. Some people may use the word different. I use unique. And with unique, sometimes comes a higher price tag, not just because we're in Alaska and everything is more expensive, but our unique desires are more expensive. Our facilities are old. A lot of these facilities are circa 1950, 1960.
Yep.
And we've done a lot of lipstick on the pig or Band-Aids here and there. And we need to get your workspace where it needs to be so you can thrive. And that costs money. So in this environment, we were talking about those things. I was presenting ideas to leadership that control the budget, control the checkbook on, I think Fort Greely in the next near 3 to 5 needs this. I think long-term, 10 years, we need this. We have to start budgeting for this. And I felt very good when I left that my words were, they fell on passionate hearts for Fort Greely, and that we will start to see those monies come our way to build your facilities, your infrastructure, your equipment to best suit your needs and make sure you're reaching your optimal potential. And then second was the quality of life initiatives. 2019 was a long time ago. That's when all this began to gain traction. But even though we're in 2023, that pool of money is not turned off. And they still want to spend that money on Fort Greely. So as you drive around Fort Greely in the next couple of days, start to look around you and see all the things that weren't there 2 years ago. And I bet it'll surprise you. Like, oh, that wasn't there. That wasn't there. It's all based on the quality of life budgeting to make you happy here and thrive here. And so I left there knowing that the quality of life initiatives are not over. They're not dormant, and that we will still continuously feel the goodness of it in years to come.
That's a really great segue into my next question, because next week we have a quality of life directorate that's coming to visit us for the day. And I was going to ask, like, what do those teams hope to accomplish while they're here, and why are they even important? What can they really do?
Yeah. So look at it as kind of a check. There was a budget for quality of life. How did we spend it? Is it working? So I just challenged you a few minutes ago to open your eyes during your next drive and kind of look around. I'm going to point out some things for you to look at. There are 3 digital boards, large, massive digital boards on Fort Greely that serve a single purpose: to communicate with you, your families, your coworkers, to inform you that there's going to be a country artist at the CAC this weekend, to inform you on a myriad of things that make your day easier and communication more efficient. That wasn't my money. That was quality of life. That was a gift. When you walk into the dining facility, when you walk into the barracks, when you walk into the CAC, when you walk into the medical clinic, there's like a 42 or 45-inch TV. Sole purpose: to communicate with you. It displays the exact same things that are on the big digital boards outside. All that is quality of life money to better communicate with you. You walk into the CAC, I hope you're seeing all the upgrades, and I'm so excited for you all to see what's going to happen in the next 3 years. We have a myriad of upgrades coming. You have a 9,000 square foot indoor playground that will be here, I'm a guessing, man, summer of 26. And it's not because it's slow. We live in Alaska. Our construction seasons are truncated, and we can only do so much within the weather permits. But that's a big deal. As a parent of a 4 and a 2-year-old, I have to drive 80 miles to Eielson for the closest indoor playground for my kids to thrive in. Last year, that was tough because the weather was really bad. Now you just need to drive to the Aurora CAC. How cool is that? That's just one of a myriad of examples. So I think they're going to come, just kind of do a pulse check, ma'am. They're going to say, you know, what have you done with the quality of life initiatives? Is it working? Is the community happy? What's the feedback we've gotten from local surveys? Do we need to give more? But heck, I could just take them through the gym from the front door to the PRTF and just say new gym floor, new racquetball, new CrossFit gym, new overhang between the PRTF and the gym so you don't have to climb through snow. The examples are endless, and I think they're going to leave quite pleased what we've done. But I'm excited to get some feedback, some unbiased outside lens saying, Joe, you may have missed a step or two, and then I can come to you all with, hey, I got this new idea. Are you interested?
Well, I think that anyone who has been here for, a specific amount of time, maybe even longer than 5 years, can see what has been added to Fort Greely. It looks drastically different than it did years ago, and that's a great thing.
I think so, and I've said to anyone who will listen, I'm so excited to bring Courtney and the kids back here 5-10 years from now for all the right reasons, but to see how it's growing, because I just know it will. I mean, I'm privy to some meetings that kind of give me some ability to forecast the future, but like to bring my kids back and see the CAC expansion, to bring my kids back and see all the great things you guys do with next year's budget and quality of life initiatives, I can just feel comfortable saying that Fort Greely is going to continue to blossom and grow.
Yeah, I'm excited.
And so that's what the visit, I think, is going to do for us. It's going to confirm and then provide a little bit suggestive feedback on how we can continue to thrive with a quality of life initiative, ma'am.
Great. We hear that there's a possibility that Fort Greely may be expanding their prescription pickup options.
Cool.
Can you tell us a bit about what we can expect to see?
I would love to, enthusiastically. So service members, family members, veterans, we are blessed right now from what our local clinic does for us. They don't have to do this. I need to make sure each and every one of you all understand. They don't have to. They want to. Twice a week, they bring our prescriptions from Bassett Army Hospital at Fort Wainwright via courier service. And it's kind of silly, but it's like the postman. Come rain, come sunshine, like they come anytime. We had some really bad weather a few months ago, and my daughter had some medicine coming. So I reached out to say, like, I'm sure you guys aren't coming today. The highway's terrible, the weather's bad. What's the next time you're coming? Because I needed to understand whether I needed to make the trek to go get my daughter's medicine. And what I found was there's nothing stopping us. We're always going to come bring the medicine to you all. We will find a way. And they were here a few hours later. Myself and Sergeant Major went over and coined the team and thanked them for everything they do for you all. Now, inside that gesture is some constraints. The clinic is only open till 4. Sometimes, like on Thursdays, they have a little bit of adjusted hours for sergeant's time in training, and on the weekends they're not open. So we started looking at options to bolster your access to your medications. And so if you've ever been in a larger installation's PX or post-exchange, they usually have those vending machines that provide prescriptions. And you see a long line of veterans waiting and retirees. Well, it was underutilized at Fort Wainwright because they obviously have access to a very good prescription team, pharmacy team, forgive me, at the Bassett Community Hospital. So I asked for it. I said, sir, we really could use that here. We could find a place on Fort Greely that's 24/7. Now the teammate who couldn't get away from work or was late picking up their kids from school and rushing back to Fort Greely to get to the clinic before 4 to get their medication. And those couriers are on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So if you didn't get it on Thursday, you have to wait until next Tuesday. And sometimes that could be stressful.
Yes.
And so I'm very excited to say that not only was it welcomed with open arms and completely paid for by Colonel Watts and his team, which is another thank you, sir. It's coming soon. And we currently think we're going to put it near the DFAC entrance. Our secondary idea is in the Arctic entryway to our troop store, next to the ice machine, and where that one table is right now. We would kind of adjust some things. But in the end, you and your family will have access to your prescriptions in a more efficient and timely manner. And we are truly grateful for Bassett and very grateful for the medical clinic here on Fort Greely for finding a way to yes with this idea.
That is awesome.
I think so.
Okay, next question. ICE. And I know that's a fun topic sometimes. Sometimes
Fun.
not so much.
Yes, that was a good word,
But
fun.
What is it? What is it not? And how does it help you and Command Sergeant Major Dunham, Mr. Fromm, how does it help you shape your decisions?
It's a great question. And I want to get this one right because I am passionate about ICE. So what it's not a complaint. You will hear a lot of people, and I'm sure I've fell victim to it in my 20 years, calling it an ICE complaint. It's not a complaint. It is an amazing interactive tool that allows anyone, E1 to 4-star general, spouse, civilian, veteran, to provide feedback and break it down to where they want to provide that feedback to. I have found it was very underutilized in my first 18 years of service. I didn't know what it was, so I considered it an ICE complaint. In command, I've realized that it's one of the best tools I have to serve you and the Team Greely family. There have been so many examples of I had no idea until the comment came through the ICE system. And then I get to go to Mr. Fromm's office, I get to go to Sergeant Major's office, I get to call the subject matter expert and say, teach me more about this comment. And what I'm finding is if that comment wouldn't have came through, I never would have been able to apply my leader energy to serving you. So thank you for using it, and please keep using it. I challenge you to not make it a complaint and actually find a recommendation in there. That'll help serve me to best understand your needs. But the flow of ICE comments that are coming in is amazing. We get a lot of them, and I embrace them. They're the first emails I open in the morning. I don't go chronologically from like this email came in last. I seek and destroy all ICE comments, and I find what matters to you, and I can't thank you enough for your candid feedback. I would ask that you educate yourself on how to use it so the information you're providing gets to the right source fastest. It is for the government, so if you have a concern about like DECA and the commissary or AFES or something that's not under the garrison, you have to find inside that interactive module who you wish to give the feedback to. Sadly, too many times that feedback comes to me and then we have to purge it and it delays the response to you. So that's my challenge to you. A, keep it coming, and B, make sure you get that information to the right person when you're clicking the buttons inside the ice. Thank you so much for the feedback. I hope you are realizing that we are listening, we are reading every one of them, and we are applying its maximum amount of leader energy to fixing or solving the recommendation that you provide. So thanks again.
Sir, we continue to field ICE comments regarding snow removal and priorities.
Yeah.
Can you talk about the snow removal plan and give Team Greely a foundational understanding of how things work and the why behind the plan?
I would love to. Again, a passionate topic, ice removal. Let me start off by thanking Jeff Bach, DPW, the entire Road and Grounds team. Regardless of the nature of the comments, we are grateful for you. Fort Greely thrives
Always.
because of your hard work. So there are rules and there's regulations in everything we do in the Army. Even with snow removal, there's rules to this. I want to make sure you clearly understand, Team Greely, that there is an operationalized plan on why you see snow removal equipment in a certain place at a certain time after a snowstorm. We don't just wing it. We don't just wake up and like Jeff rolls the dice and says, let's start at parking lot A today. There's an actual tactical, technical, strategic reason why we start in certain places, but we're human. And sometimes we make mistakes. Communication is the hardest thing we do. But through the ICE comment machines, I was able to realize that maybe we need to relook the module. It made sense a few years ago, but I'm getting so much feedback about the snow and the ice in front of the dining facility and 661 and installation services not being cleared early enough in the day. And I started realizing how many employees are in that building? How many teammates are going to breakfast at the dining facility before most people are awake? Maybe we need to relook when we attack that parking lot, when we attack the roads that lead to that, because it's a very important building very early in the day. I most likely would not have made that adjustment without the icebox. So another prime example of how it works and how grateful we are that you're giving that feedback. So back to the plan. We have a national asset with a missile defense field. We have a fully functional garrison. We have a lot of joint mission partners from Boeing and Wolf Creek. Everybody has a job to get to in the morning. Everybody's job is absolutely critical for us to do our job to defend the nation, period. I need you to understand that up front. But there are roads that have to get cleared in order for us to do our national mission, and they're always going to be first. And then the parking lots that support those businesses that ensure we're ready to defend the nation tonight are going to be the first parking lots that we get after. I clearly acknowledge that might not make sense to every teammate on Fort Greely, but I need you to leave this conversation knowing that there is an operationalized plan, a strategic plan that benefits our overall mission, and we are going to get to you as soon as possible. Inside that is a budget, and that budget drives a lot of what we can and cannot do. And I'll close with how I started. Thank you to the Roads and Grounds team. They are doing this work with, this is not opinion, this is fact, the oldest fleet in the Pacific. There are pieces of equipment in that motor pool that are older than I am, and they are still finding ways to make them work to serve you. So all that put together, I promise you, we don't just wing it, we plan it, and we'll continue to take your feedback personally and professionally to find new ways to make it efficient. I promise. But thank you for your patience and your understanding. And again, Jeff and your team, well done. Absolutely primo.
Fantastic.
Thank you, ma'am.
So the Garrison is currently the Latrines on Ice champion.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I thought that you might want to bring your
Trophy.
your
I should have
trophy
brought
that,
that today.
Michonne made.
I definitely should have.
Are you ready to defend your title? And
absolutely.
How excited are you about Spring Fling?
That's a very fun question, and I'm so excited to answer it. So up front, absolutely ready to defend the title. The team we had last year was, I think, kind of put together at the last minute, and we had no idea if we were going to finish in the top 100, let alone finish first. But very excited to hold that trophy up last year with everybody else who competed. But seeing how many teammates came out last year meant more to me. I'm being honest, meant more to me than holding up the trophy.
There was like over 100, wasn't there?
My goodness, it was packed, and everybody was laughing and having a good time. There were children and parents, and the MWR team was there in mass. It was just one of the most magical moments of my short 2-year tenure. And so that's my challenge to you. It's like, don't just come out and watch the latrine race and cheer on your Garrison team to win. Come out with your family and have hot dogs and hot cocoa and ice fish with us and get off Fort Greely. I know we thrive in the summer getting off Fort Greely and going out and fishing and hunting and recreating, but in the winter we get a little bit lethargic. And so here's my challenge to you. Like, we're providing an option. When's the last time you've been to Quartz Lake? Like, I got one for you, March 4th. Come out and watch us do the latrine race, do some ice fishing with us, enjoy some camaraderie. And then that whole week is built with so many fun activities for the entire family. Some of them are comical. Like, I challenge you to come to the pool and watch a bunch of adults and kids try to swim with a cardboard boat from one side of the pool to the other. It's hilarious.
It is.
I'm still laughing from last year watching Sergeant Major Brakefield fall into the water. It was great. So, again, kudos to the entire MWR team for putting this together. But my challenge is how many members of Team Greely and the Rugged Professional family can come out and enjoy that. Help come thrive with us. That's what I want. I really do. And so thank you, Jess and team, for putting on this event. I'm so excited to get it started with you all, and really hope that everybody remains healthy during the race. But in the end, I'm still holding up the trophy with the Garrison team.
Yeah, we'll see, sir.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
It's up to you.
Yeah, okay, cool. So in closing, I actually had to write this down because I wanted to make sure that I got it correctly the first time. But look, team, I know I'm biased. I sit on top of the hill and I look down and I think I understand how things are going with the family, and I think we're all relatively content and happy. But I won't know how I can help. Sergeant Major and I will just fist bump at the end of the day and be like, we did great today, unless you let me know. So in the past 2 years, we've completely revamped how we communicate with you, and I'm proud of it. It's really something I want to take away from command, knowing that I think we nailed it. We've had over a 2,000% increase in our social media hits and how we interact with you locally and then afar. That wasn't on accident. That was an initiative. That was structured. That was operationalized. That was Jim Virtue and Angela Glass coming together and finding new ways to connect with you. Our MWR team and the marketing team, I don't know how they do it. It is rapid, it is accurate, and it's actually appeasing to the eye on how they communicate with you all about all the events they're providing. The digital boards outside, I acknowledge they struggled in the cold winter when we were below -20. We're going to find new ways to warm them up and get them working next winter, but they work. The TV's inside all the areas with high traffic. We're trying our best to communicate with you. We send an email out every week, once a week, and that distro is large to tell you what's going on in your community. We host once a month a meeting, and I know everybody hates meeting, but the purpose of the meeting is to review the calendar as one family, not as one unit, one total family, 6 months out. And every month we look at that 6 months out. So we can say, hey, did you know that the family team is doing extravaganza at the PRTF for Easter? No, we didn't know. How could we support? Let's get the message out. Let's combine our team, and our voice can be stronger and louder, and we can start putting that stuff up on the boards and starting to put that in the email. Now we have more family members thriving on that special event supporting Easter. The examples are endless. But I close with, I won't know how I can better meet communication needs unless you tell me. So you can use the ICE comment, you can use this forum, you can send me an email, you can kick down my door. But please continue to let me know. Help make my job harder, but more rewarding when I find a way to meet your needs. Because in the end of the day, you're all that matters to me, besides Courtney and the kids, of course.
Sir, would you be willing to take a few questions from the audience?
Oh, that sounds fascinating. Let's get that started.
All right, who's got a question for Colonel Orr? I know somebody does.
I do. Okay, the 24-hour fitness, super awesome. I'm excited to hear about that.
Thank you.
Now, will that be open for retirees and DA civilians that have access to the installation?
So if you all didn't hear her question, it was in regards to the gym. Nested inside our new initiative 24/7 is kind of like the who. Who can come to our gym? So for service members, it's easy. Like I have a card that shows you that I'm in the Army and I get to play in this gym. So that 300 of us here on post, that's an easy win. The rest of Team Greely is comprised of Department of Army civilians, contractors, spouses, and teammates from Boeing, Wolf Creek, etc. So if you walk in the gym, you see there's usually a laminated card that says military, and then there's a laminated card that says civilian. We are here to support each and every one of you all through MWR, legally, ethically, and morally. And really, there's only like 2 facilities on post that are constrained from everybody, but the gym is not one of them. So regardless of your status, if you're supporting Team Greely and you feel as you don't have access to the gym, I need to know. Because whatever you do for Team Greely is important enough for me to find a legal, ethical, and moral reason to give back to you at our gym. There are laws within the Department of Army civilian structure that says you can legally leave work during the business day to go work out. And supervisors right now are exploring new ways to bolster that initiative and motivate and inspire our DA civilians to say, you know what? I'm going to build time today at 2 p.m. in the middle of the workday to go for a walk on the PRTF track or go slam some weights. So if I'm doing that for Department of Army civilians, I better be doing it for contractors that are crushing it out there with Boeing and Wolf Creek, and I better be doing it for spouses that are supporting their spouse wearing the uniform. So that's a great question, and my honest answer is absolutely every Team Greely rugged professional get to the gym. And if one person finds out that they can't, put that on my shoulders. I guarantee you I know a person that's going to find a legal way that I can change the rules to an exception of policy to say, yes, you absolutely deserve to use our facility at the gym.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
I do have a follow-on question.
Let's do it.
Since it will be open 24 hours, how will people be able to access it? Is it just going to
Sweet.
be wide open, or is there going to be some sort of security card that you have to
Yes, ma'am.
use to access the gym? And lastly, will this also include the pool access?
These are great questions. So I want to start with the first one is, this is a perfect example of if you didn't ask, I probably would have never answered because I just assumed you know. And that's my fault. So we have, what's taking so long for it to get open is parts ordering throughout the globe. You'd be surprised on how back-ordered doors were. Doors put us behind a few months. However, within the process, to answer your question, ma'am, Q-Scan is a module in which we will have a card that will allow us to scan. The door will then open for a few seconds, allow us entry into the facility, and then we'll be able to thrive within the gym. To answer your follow-up question, in order for you to get access, you're going to watch that video, and I'm going to trust you to be an adult there after hours without supervision. I can't put cameras everywhere there. I cannot put a camera in the men's room, the locker room, and the women's room, right? And I need adults to take care of adults after hours and keep that place safe and thriving. What I also can't do after hours is ask our small, limited lifeguard staff to have the pool open at 2 in the morning. So I apologize up front. You're going to have to continue to thrive in the pool during our established pool hours. They will not be part of the 24/7. So if you visualize yourself walking in that gym, everything is open to include the PRTF track and turf field. The only thing that will not be available after hours is the pool. And I'm so grateful you brought that up, man, because somebody out there thinks the pool is going to be open at 3 in the morning.
That's a great question. I didn't even think of it.
And that ice comet's going to come in and say, sir, I waited all year for you to, so I can get my swim on at 3 in the morning. And so thank you. And we'll make sure and message that afterwards. Thank you so much. Great questions.
I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
So the new addition to the CAC, I've had quite a few people ask me, and maybe it's too early, I don't know, but do you have any details of what it's going to hold or how late is it going to be open?
So yeah, so I'm going to dive in to answer your question, and then I'll pause and ask if I answered it. So for you all who don't know, again, very similar to if you wouldn't have asked about how to access the pool or nope.
They will not be accessing the pool.
How
sir.
to access the gym after hours, I would have assumed you already knew. So within the Quality of Life initiatives, when circa 2019-18, There were some surveys and some face-to-face questioning with Team Greely on what we desired. And the indoor playground was the #1 request from the 1,300 of us. So $10.5 million was set aside to make that dream a reality. And that money has been protected for 3 years now by all of our leadership all the way up to Washington, D.C. I get a monthly update on where that money is, that it's still protected. All the approving of officials agree that that money is still justified for your CAC. We have a contract, we have a contractor, and that will begin this summer. But again, based off construction timelines in Alaska, construction seasons, parts ordering, et cetera, and the magnitude of building a 9,000 square foot indoor playground takes time. So we forecast 3 years, 3 seasons, summer seasons, and by the summer of 26, that facility will be open and running. Inside that facility are the things that family members have been yearning for. Where do you do birthday parties right now? Oh, the locker room inside the bowling alley? That's not, you deserve better. So that's one of a myriad of things that will be included. 2 birthday rooms. You're gonna have a spouse fitness area that overlooks the playgrounds. And then for those of you all who live on Fort Greely, or if you've just driven around our small footprint, you've seen our 2 massive playgrounds that North Haven was so kind to provide our housing complexes. So imagine that massive playground inside. That's how big it's going to be. So you're gonna have all the things that our children enjoy the 4 months of summer inside for 12 months out the year. And I think that's pretty awesome. There's a myriad of other things, but I think there's gonna be a basketball court. There's gonna be like a foam play area where you jump in the foam squares, but those are the big ones. You're gonna have a massive full-size playground inside, a spouse fitness area that overwatches that, so our spouses can get their workout on while watching Joey and others play. And then you finally have a place where you can reserve and recreate for birthday parties, special events, order pizza from the CAC and the Fahrenheit Grill, and just have a really good time. And if we have special events from like Armed Forces Entertainment that come see us, like last month we had the headphone disco and all the kids were having fun. Imagine making that a full day. So mom and dad take the kids there at like 3 p.m. We enjoy the playground from 3 to 5, and then at 5 o'clock headphone disco comes. And before you know, you spent 4 hours hanging out with your neighbors, your coworkers, your family friends, and you really felt good about congregating versus us just holing in our homes having cabin fever in those 3 or 4 cold months. And then there's one more upgrade I need to make sure you all are aware of. Again, another example of you asked and we listened. We have an amazing Fahrenheit bar and grill. Not many people use the bar. We needed to find out why. And through surveys and tactical questioning, we realized that while I'm sitting at the bar stool, enjoying my adult beverage, having my adult conversations, maybe even complaining about you, sir, there's kids and families 2 feet behind me eating their dinner or lunch. And I really don't feel like I've got privacy to be an adult right here. I'm exposed. Man, that's brilliant. So we took that and we ran with it. And then we said, well, what else do you want? Well, we need an expanded menu at the Fahrenheit Grill. Like, it's delicious. We appreciate it, but the line gets long at lunch. I need like quick, cold grab and goes. All right, we listened. So we spent $1.9 million, and we're starting right now, and it'll be done soon. We're gonna move that bar back in the room with the video games, and that's gonna become a gigantic adult bar, and it's gonna be state-of-the-art, and it's gonna give the privacy and the relaxation that all adults on Team Greely deserve. And then add like an adult comedian or add an adult music artist back there for you all, and it just gets a little bit more special event-oriented for us to recreate. And then the existing bar becomes a cafe. It's gonna have salads and wraps and sandwiches and cold grab-and-go items, so you come in during your busy work day over lunch and you're like, let me grab that sandwich. I don't need to wait in that line for that burger. And then you high-five and have fun. And then
Everyone clap.
and then everybody loves coffee, right? And we are blessed on Fort Greely with our coffee option, Brenda, and we love her to death. But we're gonna bolster that and give more options for you, the customer, and we're gonna have like a Starbucks or Seattle's best option for coffee there too. So I'm super excited for you all, and I'll pause and ask Jeff if I answered the question.
You did answer it, and I got a follow-up comment. if you
Good,
don't mind.
I love it.
So, in the hiring process, you know, as you spoke, we're having problems getting qualified people out here.
For sure.
there a way to get that word out? All the added benefits of working out here, the gym, the CAC.
Yeah.
You know, wintertime in Alaska, if you have kids and you have a CAC, can't beat it. So.
For sure.
Yes. So let me start up front with data, some stats. I think it always helps establish the framework of where we're trying to go with this conversation. So when I brief congressional delegates, staff delegates, general officers when they come to our amazing posts for like the VIP, I've got 8 slides, just a couple pictures and some data points to help drive conversation. And there's one really critical stat. Fort Greely is 1,300 strong and employs 75% of the local populace in Delta Junction and rural Deltana. 75% of our teammates outside the gate already have access to this amazing place. So inside my creative and innovative ways of access to the post, I've really only been attacking that 25%. Because gratefully, 75% of all of us already work on post. So when I go to those hiring fairs, when I'm at city council, when I'm at school board, when I'm out, I can't say at the IGA anymore, but when I'm out hanging out somewhere in town, I'm really trying to go after that small 25%. And yes, Jeff, to your question, I'm using that narrative of when you join the Greely team, here are the things that come with it. And I am adding on, like, if you'll remain patient, in a few years, it's only going to grow. What I'm competing with is you can make $19 stocking the shelf at Lowe's and Fairbanks, right? And so where on Fort Greely can I compete with $19 an hour? How do I attack the narrative of pay versus like the rewards of being a teammate on Fort Greely? With the rewards, you know, some come with commissary benefits, some don't come with commissary benefits, some come with CAC access and access to the movie theater and our amazing movie area in the back of the CAC. I got to be careful when I say theater because people remember the AFES theater across the street. The bowling alley, the Fahrenheit Grill, and all the great entertainment that comes there. So yes, I am attacking it with a narrative of recruitment and inspiration. I think it's working. I mean, every hiring fair just has so many great narratives to it. It's keeping people happy. It's the retain part. Once you get on board, are you comfortable with the process? It takes a few weeks, a few months for you to get fully onboarded. How fast can I get your pay started? Did what I tell you at the hiring fair actually pan out? Are you really flipping burgers? Or are you really like dealing with towels at the gym? Is that what you wanted to do? So recruit, retain, it's an art. And I'm excited about what MWR is doing for us within the hiring fair, but there's always ways we can get better. So I asked each and every one of you all, recommendations are welcomed. Like, give me some things that I can use to make your workspace better, even fuller. And I would be most appreciative for that feedback. Great question.
Sir, Ms. go ahead.
Ms. Caronell.
A recommendation, would it be possible to host a larger scale hiring fair?
Yeah.
It would be all different departments. Right now, there's a huge listing of job openings in different.
That's a great idea. How can we collaborate as one family, not just one directorate within the hiring fair?
At least every 6 months, every 3 months.
Yeah.
More realistic, because I know, some people stay and then choose to leave within.
For sure.
See within the first 6 months to a year, that's where people decide whether they want to stay or not.
Yes, ma'am.
So maybe every 6 months.
I think it's a wonderful idea, and I'm going to run with that. Shame on me for not thinking about that. I've just been so excited about building the numbers within MWR because I know what it brings to our community. And that poor team's been hovering less than 50% my entire command tour and still keeping the doors open, the lights on. But yeah, why can't I call other directorates to be there side by side with a different table? So like, you want to join MWR? Come talk to this team. You want to join DPW, Boeing, Wolf Creek? Come on. I just got to find a facility in town that's going to let us take up that much space. But that's an easy problem for me to fix, and I appreciate that recommendation, ma'am. That's amazing.
That'd be awesome. Miss Maria has a question.
Yeah.
Miss Maria?
Jake, I see.
No, I'm good. You answered it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we have Jake Nagel.
Jake?
For that, a lot of the jobs that you're talking about are NAP jobs.
Yes, sir.
How do we open the GS jobs open to the public? They're all locked to retirees or
Yeah.
people like that. How do we open those to the public since we're such an isolated place?
Right.
Wouldn't that help to open that up to everyone?
No, he brings a really good point. So within the hiring fair, we're kind of attacking the NAF, the non-appropriated opportunities. What are we really doing for AF? And so Again, we acknowledge that USA Jobs is not the most easiest website for you to navigate or understand. What I'm finding is that there's an art to applying that something as simple as how you do your resume gets you in the door. Like, did you use this word or that word? If you use this word, the algorithm brings you into, this. And that is not fair. And so we have been discussing it within MCOM Pacific, and I'm very grateful for all the hard work. I have to start off with that. Like, they're doing a magnificent job of recognizing the problem and creating solutions, just probably not at the pace that we would desire. They put together a 5-minute, 4K, high-definition recruitment video for Alaska. So if you went on USA Jobs and saw that there was a NAF, if there was a GS7 job within DPTMS, you click it, and there's a video link next to it that's going to teach you why you should come to Alaska. Let's just say you're at Fort Benning, Georgia. It's amazing. It's a wonderful recruitment video that kind of just educates you on Alaska. That's one way we're trying to get after the GS recruitment. And then on top of that is teaching, coaching, and mentoring how to use USA Jobs. But I think you're right, Jake. We need to do a better job of explaining to our local populace that this job is available on post. If you have these 3 to 5 credentials, you qualify. Let's get you seated in front of a computer. So nested with what Ms. Carinell said, there's better ways that I can attack hiring fairs, and I think that's a perfect example that we need to have a did you know table. Like, these are, even if it was just a list when you're going to that hiring fair, maybe you went there that day thinking you were going to apply to be a cook at the CAC, and then you left because you're applying for a DPTMS job that you didn't know until you got there was even available. And then all you need is like some help navigating USA Jobs, and before you know it, yeah, it's working out.
That would be awesome.
I think so. Yes, ma'am. Now you have a question.
That is true, because I even have people come to the visitor center, and I write down the website for them. You need to apply online, and this is who's out here, and this is the website that you need to apply at.
For sure.
I've done that several times.
That means a lot. And we can get after that through just posters and flyers. And so this is all great feedback. And once we go through this video, and we have somebody who's writing down in the audience right now of all the recommendations and ideas, and that's an easy win. That's government ink, government printers. Go. Print, print, print. I need some clear tape, and let me put that up in the entranceway to the commissary, post office, and all the other high traffic areas. And then off post, wherever we legally, ethically, and morally put them, we'll put them up. There's a lot of local teammates out there that want to work with us and help us win. So I can't see us having any friction of having those flyers out in the town.
I think that would be best, because a lot of those folks don't have
Exactly.
access.
Yeah.
So they're not going to see it at the
Yes, ma'am.
commissary or wherever you post.
No, yeah, absolutely.
So out would be best.
Yes, ma'am. And we'll find those strategic areas. And I'll work with the mayor. He's a great teammate. Like, where do you think I can help communicate with your community? But great recommendations. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Another recommendation. I know right now we're still waiting for Army Community Services Specialists to come and fill in that gap.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
want to thank Jimmy Russell, who's been traveling on occasion to come support our families and people that are interested in looking for employment opportunities.
Yes, ma'am.
Another good way is to have a specialist come in and travel at least a week before the hiring fair, and also be
For
present
sure.
to prepare anyone for the next job openings, or
It's great.
assist them while they're there, or just being available that week prior so that everyone's coming ready with their resume, arriving ready
Mm-hmm.
with their resume in hand for a hiring fair.
I love it. So, and her point is brilliant. How do you bolster the efficiency of the hiring fair? Well, we've got teammates locally and at Fort Wainwright under Army Community Services that they do this for a living. And so they can go there and help educate, take a little bit of weight off the MWR staff of what they're trying to accomplish during the hiring fair, and they can just get out and meet teammates and then pass them off to, if you all remember Ruth and what she did for our community, her successor is still pending. But we have teammates on Fort Wainwright who are still filling that gap for us and who can travel down here and help us. So that's a brilliant recommendation, ma'am. I look forward to implementing that soonest. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I got one more.
Yes.
Sir, a lot of the hiring that we do, people end up turning down the job because they can't find a place to live.
appreciate that you said the Army instead of just me.
Didn't want to hurt your feelings.
No, that was really polite of you. So, look, we have over 80 privatized units on Fort Greely, and I'm telling you, I was a military dependent for over 30 years, and I've been in the service for 20. I've never seen homes this nice. So let's start with there. Like, we're grateful for what we have, and I'm very pleased with the wait list and how we go about prioritizing active all the way to retirees and contractors. We do a great job providing housing on Fort Greely. Off post, I mean, let's call a spade a spade. It's Delta Junction, rural Deltana. There's a lot of land, but not a lot of real estate, right? We've got a great real estate team, and I'm very grateful for what they all do to provide options. But for the active component, who's a little bit more grateful, like we get about 6 to 7 months notice when we're moving. Our National Guard teammates, they get a lot less notice. And that's something we've been fighting to work with our Compo 2 teammates in National Guard is we've got to be able to give soldiers and families more notice to find the limited homes in our local community. They're moving sometimes within 2 to 4 weeks of notice, and good luck. So look, I don't think there's going to be any new neighborhoods built in our local community anytime soon, but we are. I think we're in good shape with homes that are available, but I think more importantly for soldiers and family members that have an adequate amount of notice, I think you have the option to build or to work with Gina and the North Haven team to find a legal, ethical way for you to find a beautiful home here on Fort Greely. I'm confident saying when I bring my family back 10 years from now, we have grown in that domain. I don't know if we're going to grow off post or on post, and I don't want to speculate, but I'm comfortable in saying that there will be more housing available as Fort Greely grows.
So, sir, as you're going through this transition of leaving our wonderful Fort Greely and Delta area, I have a two-part question.
Yes, ma'am.
What is some advice or thoughts that you've had with incoming command about Fort Greely, our community, how we do things here, and is there any advice that you have for us as community members, as employees, during your transition coming in that we can assist with new command team and any advice for that?
What a great question.
What a prime example of this family, right? Like, why is she asking me that question if she didn't care about Courtney and I leaving and Keith and his family arriving? That continuity, that family atmosphere. So, ma'am, thank you so much for the heartfelt question. And it's just all about deliberately going through transitions. So for me, I owe it to Keith Marshall and his amazing family to onboard them properly. I can still clearly remember how scared and nervous I was to become your commander. I had never done garrison command before. I was an expert in my craft on what I had done prior to meeting you, but this was my first go-around. And I was very reliant on the staff to show me what right looks like. I was vulnerable, and that vulnerability scared me. And so I need to do my job in the next 30 to 120 days to calm him and let him know it's okay to be vulnerable and to trust your teammates, your directorate, your directors, your supervisors. Trust your deputy and your sergeant major. They're not going to fail you. And then inside that comfort that I will create for him, he will lead you. The Army picked him for a reason. He's ready. He's qualified. He is a proven leader. But again, he is going to be naturally scared to lead you in this domain because it's new to him, and new is scary. Change is scary. And I promise you I will do my due diligence to shed that fear, to make him comfortable. So he is just naturally leading you. And Courtney and I have done I'm very proud of the efforts we've done to welcome him. We've done virtual FaceTimes, kind of giving him a tour of his home. He and I are talking often. I've entertained a lot of questions he's had while he's been to schooling, preparing for command. I think that relationship is built. That bridge is there. But for you, now going to your two-part question, you need to be ready. You need to be ready to onboard him. You need to be ready to show him the so what. So last week when I was in Hawaii, all the outgoing commanders were sharing this exact feedback on what MCOM Pacific and garrisons need to do better to onboard the new commanders this summer. There's so many new teammates coming in the Pacific. And I shared that I was onboarded professionally. I felt like royalty. I felt like I mattered and you cared about my success, but I don't know if I was onboarded about the things that mattered in my first 90 days. So I challenged that the entire MCOM Pacific change the model, and I know I'll do it here locally that, hey, Keith, in your first 90 days, these are the 3 biggest problems you'll face. You're going to brief Lieutenant General Karbler on this day. You're going to submit this installation thing on this day, and I need to get you ready. All the other things the staff will take care of, and they will fall into place. And therefore, he can spend his leader energy getting ready for the 3 big playoff games that he'll have in his first 120 days. But that's where I'll need you. During your onboarding, the staff is going to show him what's important, what do the acronyms mean, where he can start to understand what you do for Team Greely. And just kind of leave all the white noise out of it and just go with the so what, and help him fear you less. Help him understand how you give back to Team Greely. And the rest will fall into place, ma'am.
Any more questions? All right, sir, you want to close this out?
Yeah, I don't need notes for that.
No.
In the end, let me start off with my closing comments by thanking Jim Virgio and Angela Glass for making this dream come true. You have provided myself and the command another way to connect with Team Greely, and I'm forever grateful. This is professional, this is elegant, this is comfortable, and I'm excited for how I still can use it in my last 4 months, but even more excited about how my successors will be able to use this to communicate with you. So great job, team. For everybody who's listening online and for all the great leaders that came today in person, thank you. Thank you for wanting to listen. Thank you for wanting to be part of Coffee and Conversation. It is my way of making myself available, vulnerability, and transparently with you all to make sure you are informed and that I am doing my due diligence to provide that information to you so you can thrive here. And in closing, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for what you do for this amazing installation every single day. It matters. You matter, and you absolutely matter to me and Command Sergeant Major Dunham, and we are forever thankful. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe. I hear some snow's coming, so do what you do best to prepare you and your family to stay safe, and I'll see you on the high ground.